Well, hello everybody. I'm happy to be making up this follow-up video to one I posted a few days ago about synthetic division. Okay, and let me recap the beginning of my other video. My other video began like this. Suppose we have this equation right here. It's a typical kind of equation we're trying to solve right now in our class. And I said, if I set up a synthetic division like this, and suppose I have the number -1 right here, and suppose that I follow through with the synthetic division procedure and I get a 0 right there, that means that -1 is a solution to this equation. Okay, so that's just the brute fact of the situation, that if I put a number here, if that's a 0, that number is a solution to this equation. If I don't get a 0 there, it's not. Okay, black and white, it's that simple. But the question I really wanted you to think about is, are there other ways to show that -1 is a solution to this equation? Okay, partially because I wanted you to know other ways if they exist. Generally, I mean, I think you're taking college math class, I want you to know stuff. I want you to know as much stuff as you can, because as a possible STEM major, there's no telling what you might need to know in the future. Okay, but it does play into what I think makes some of the problems that we're up against in my math lab a little bit easier if we know other ways besides synthetic division to show that a number is a solution to an equation. Okay, so are there other ways to show that -1 is a solution to this equation? And it's so easy. I mean, we could just plug the number in. You know, I mean, that's what a solution does. Let's not forget what a solution is. What does it mean if -1 is a solution to this? Well, it means that if you take that equation, there it is right there, x third minus 5x squared plus 2x plus 8 equals 0, and if you put -1 in for the x, then it turns out to be true. And if you do the calculations, you get 0 on one side and 0 on the other side, and that's correct, okay? So don't overlook that, okay? I want you to know that that's like the most basic thing that we have to justify that a number is a solution to an equation. You plug it in and it works, okay? Now here's why I would point this out to you. What you're looking at now is a question from my math lab, and I've got it solved all the way through for the sake of the video, but the general strategy that we're learning in our class is that you have an equation, and in order to find all the solutions to this equation, we need to start off with one solution, and then that takes us the rest of the way. So the first part of the question is list all possible solutions. Now I know this sounds more complicated than that, but this says, can you list all the possible solutions that you could choose from, among which you can find the first solution? Okay, so all right, now there's something called the rational roots theorem, or the rational zero theorem, to make this list, and I've included another video for that. But here's the list of the possibilities. Okay, there's a solution to this equation, and it's one of these numbers. Okay, now but look at part B. Part B says use synthetic division to test several possible. Basically, it says use synthetic division to try these out, trial and error, to find one that actually works. Okay, now if you use synthetic division, you're going to have to write this out like each time that you try one of them. Okay, and I just think that that's going to take longer. I mean, with a handheld calculator, I think that you could take these numbers, plug them in there until you find the one that works way faster. I just think it'd be easier. All right, I mean, but you know, you can do it however you want to, you know, but fine. If you want to write out synthetic division for 1 and it didn't work, and then -1 and then it didn't work, and then can you imagine, like, you're just doing a lot more writing, and I think it'd be easier to just plug the number in and check it. Okay, just like I did here. Plug, is -1 a solution? Plug it in, check it. Okay, then you'll know. So here's how I would have done this. Okay, I'd say, okay, so here's that equation right there. Here's my list where I'm going to check and find the first solution. And just by guessing and checking with my calculator, just, I plugged in 1, didn't work. I plugged in -1, didn't work. But I went through it pretty fast with a calculator, and I got to 6. Okay, I plugged in 6 and it worked. And I just think that's so much faster. All right. So now we will still have to use synthetic division because it allows us to factor out and find the other solution. So once I find that 6 is the number on this list that works, then I'll set up the synthetic division, which I only have to do 1 time at this point. And me getting a 0 here verifies that, yeah, 6 in fact was a solution. And then among this part right here, I find my other solutions. Okay, so this represents 1x squared plus 6x minus 1, which is this equation, and that's the kind of thing we solve by the quadratic formula, and we get all 3 of our solutions. Okay, so you can do it how you want, but I think for this part B here, where we have to guess and check to find the number on this list that actually works, that's the first solution, that allows us to divide it and factor it out and solve further, why not just plug the numbers into the equation to find the one that works? Okay, so that was the reason why I started this discussion with you in the first place. Okay, because you will see here it says use synthetic division to try those out until you find one that works. But if you want to do it that way, you can do it that way. But I think it's faster to do what? What is it probably faster to do? Just take the numbers, plug them in real quick with a calculator till you find the one that works. And then from there, the rest of it is typical. Well, they are going to play out like this with the synthetic division, getting a quadratic formula, and then we'll get our final 3 answers.